Hello, thanks for joining us. My name is Janice Campbell. I'm one of the stewards at the Gallucci Learning Garden in the Hilltop of Tacoma. We're going to do a class and show you how to do some plant root division today.
Hi, my name is Bruce West and I'm assisting.
We're going to start with this plant. It's called Epimedium, common name bishop's hat. I'll just point out why it's called bishop's hat. This is a MITRE. This is a MITRE shape. And so that's why the bishops wear a hat called a MITRE, and that's the shape. So I want you to imagine that you and I are in your garden and you'd like to divide this Epimedium. This one is called Rhubarb, G-L-A-D-R-I-E-L. I spelled the actual variety. So let's imagine you're in your garden, you have a shovel, and you're going to dig out this root ball. Bruce, would you hand me one of the trowels? There we are. Thank you. So when you're trying to get the root ball, again, imagine your foot is on the shovel and you are going around the root ball to loosen it up from the soil all the way around. And then you're able to lift out the root ball with your shovel. Thank you. Let's move this sack away and we'll just do it right here. Epimedium is, these are hybrid varieties, but there is a native variety as well. This plant is deciduous, so it will lose all of its leaves, but this is beautiful fall color, and this will stay up until about January. And then it will be tan and raggedy looking. Cut it right to the ground. In the early spring, what you'll first see are some beautiful flowers, like fairies, come in yellow, rose, white, pink. And then what follows are these leaves, these shaped leaves, very immature, bright green with a red edge. Just really, it's a glorious plant. Another benefit of this plant is that it grows in very tough conditions. Under cedar trees, fir trees, someplace where it's really dry, or the big tree is taking most of the moisture, it doesn't care. It will still perform for you. This is one that's really good to divide. So, Bruce, if you'd hand me the pruners, I'm going to cut off all this foliage. Thank you. See, we just got some woody stems. That's going to be discarded. So what we now have is the root ball. There are several tools that I use for a root ball this size. This is for pruning a grapevine. This is a straight edge, and it has a little safety swivel thing so you can't cut yourself. This is called a hori-hori. It's a very useful tool for more dense root balls. So let's see, and this looks like it hurts, but it doesn't hurt, not at all. You're just going to go right down the center. You can hear the ripping and tearing. The plant doesn't mind. Okay, do a little bit more cutting. A little bit more breaking the crown. We're almost there. I'm going to change surgical instruments here. There we go. Okay, there's the crown, stems, and the root ball. So let's say you want to plant this section back in the hole you just dug out. So we'd put this back in the hole, put soil in, snug it around, and then you have that plant. But let's say this one you want to give to your sister because she loves Epimedium and she has a spot in her garden for it. So this is where you would take a pot with some soil. I would probably, can you hand me that other pot, Bruce? Yep. Thank you. I'm just going to make some room. Well, actually, let's make some room in this guy. We're taking out about half of the soil.
And could you divide that in half again?
Yes, actually this would be better in fourths, but just for the purposes of today. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to do a little scoring of the roots. Again, this looks painful, but it does nothing more. It rejuvenates the plant. Loosen it up a bit. And we'd plant it back in the pot. Again, we're probably going to do some trimming to really fit it in.
Let me get rid of some of this.
Okay. So in it goes. And then Bruce, if you would fill it in. Those roots like to be nice and snug. At this point, it doesn't need fertilizer. Just needs to be snug in there, and it will need to be watered in. Don't forget the water. That's an important part. Okay, so we water the plant. Then you save it for your sister, and then she's able to start an Epimedium plant in her garden. And I think the benefit is that she's going to think of you every time she sees that beautiful plant. So that is a root division of an Epimedium. So let's set these aside. And we like to make messes here, so we're going to move on to some herbaceous plants. The next one is a Hosta. Herbaceous plants are plants that typically at the first frost, the stem and leaves of the plant just drop. You know, they soften up and they drop. So hostas are herbaceous plants. Peonies are herbaceous, as well as Solomon seal. There's lots of herbaceous plants. Let's go ahead and take this plant apart. Same sort of imagery. If you can imagine, this is in your garden and you want to divide it. One of our volunteers, one of the stewards actually at Gallucci, brought a large clump, 2 clumps of hostas from a friend of hers. The hostas had grown too big in the spot that they were, and they were obstructing a pathway. So we accepted the hostas. We divided it into 14 or 15 different pieces. We potted them up just like you've seen us do, and they grew on, and we were able to sell them at our plant sale the following spring. It was a beautiful hosta. So again, we're going to pretend that this is in the garden, and we need to dig it up. Okay. Let's try the hoary. Just going to loosen up here. You know, when a plant has either outgrown its space or you've grown it in a pot and it's just become too tight. There we go. You can see the roots of the hosta, very extensive. So here's the crowns. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 crowns on this hosta. We're going to go ahead and take this apart and divide it. Now let's see. I think I'm going to use what you want to try to get is some of the crown in that division. Again, that familiar ripping and tearing sound. But the plant doesn't mind. In fact, in this case, it'll be really happy to be free of the tight shoes that it once had to wear. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 crowns on that section. Again, same thing, we're going to loosen this all up. If we put this back in the pot with these circular roots, they're going to continue to circle in the ground. You really need to, in the pot or in the ground, you want to be able to sort of loosen up and break apart the tendency that this plant will have to circle, to continue to circle its roots. I just found a slug egg. I'm just squished it. Slug eggs are tan and brown, and Mrs. Slug lays her eggs there, hoping you won't notice. And I think if you don't already know, I think Hosta's on the top food chain for slugs. Here's another slug egg. I'll put it at the edge of the table there so you can see. There we go. Okay, so let's
keep finding more.
Yeah,
more and more.
More and more. Okay, so we've kind of worked these roots loose. We could actually do some trimming. Might do that. Doesn't hurt the plant. In it goes. And then same sort of process. While Bruce is doing that, I'll mention on peonies, maybe your folks are moving and that's been your favorite peony, something that you remember from your growing up, your mom's favorite plant, and they're moving. So you'd like to take a piece of that peony with you. So this is an opportunity to do something like that. Maybe to dig up enough of it to be able to piece it and give it to other family members that want a piece of the peony, or your parents even. There's lots of ways to consider this a benefit. Let's say you're on a pretty tight budget garden-wise. You've got some indoor stuff that needs to happen in the house. Buying one plant and then knowing that you'll be having it in the ground for a couple of years, be able to dig it up and divide it, means that instead of buying the 4 or 5 plants that you wanted to, you buy one, you be patient, and then you'll have 4 or 5 plants in just a few years. So this is the rest of the hosta. Again, we've got some crowns here, so we can divide that. We can get that at least 3 plants out of this one plant. So I'll pass that over to you,
Okay.
Bruce.
And again, you'd want to water
Oh, always water.
that. So.
Yep. Yep. We're making a pile here. Next on the list I'm going to pull out is a coneflower, also botanical name Echinacea, a large group of flowering plants. These are also deciduous. This is a perennial flower, originated in the prairies of our country and others. This particular one is called raspberry truffle. It's a pretty pale pink color. So we have some stems from last year. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stems from last year. We have to do the same sort of thing. Let's just prune this off a bit. I actually see some new growth even. Here we go. Well, here, let's cut this off. Okay, there's some new growth right there. I'm going to take down the stems from last year. I may hand that to you, Bruce.
Yep.
Coneflower comes in all colors, sky's the limit, and shapes. A really good pollinator, a really tough plant. And another benefit is the winter, the opportunity in the winter, if you leave those flowers up, there's a whole, the flower becomes a seed head. So the birds continue through the winter to take those seeds and eat those seeds. It's a good food source for them. So a lot of times we're tempted to sort of cut things down and clean the garden out. In the case of coneflowers, and if you grow them, don't do that. Leave them for the birds to eat, for the larger birds. Okay, same sort of thing. We're unveiling the root ball of the coneflower. Now this is a little different in that we have in this coneflower, what would you say, Bruce? Maybe three or four opportunities to take a piece of it. I'm going to use my grapevine pruner, and I'm just going to kind of cut in here. You know, slugs are a fact of life, and I see slug eggs in this pot. And in this way, I'm just going to kind of section it off here, and then we're going to have a little bit more of a reveal on what we're working with. This has it's because it's not a herbaceous plant, it has a different sort of presentation as far as the roots go and the crown of the plant. I'm just trying to sort of loosen this up so I can reveal that to you. Let's see. Sometimes what you have to do with these things, and we don't have it available to us right now, is to dip this root ball in water, get some of this soil out of the way so you can really visualize better. Here's where I see one, Bruce. What do you think? Right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to go in. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Just want to show you. There's the roots. Here's a healthy stem. Got a stem that will work as well. So we're going to put that, again, like we've done before. Plant that, and off you go. Taking this further apart, let's see. I'm going to guess something like this.
Oh, that was.
Okay. This is all done during the dormant period of, this is a good late fall, winter, very early spring. Here's another plant. And here's a third or fourth one. So you've just taken one coneflower, and now you've got three. Bruce is filling that pot up. Here's another thing I'll share. You're at the nursery, it's the end of the season. There's something you've had your eye on for an awful long time. It might go on sale, it might get put to the corner where things are on sale. Or even better yet, you notice that it has packed that plant with stems. You know, you can see that it has outgrown its pot. That would be a good one to purchase. This one, you know, is on the small side, but at the end of the season, in most nurseries, you'll find some really good bargains on some plants. So, another way to stretch the budget. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Next plant. That's why I need Bruce to keep the top clear. Story on this one. This is a
Let me
thyme
get this out of here.
thyme plant. It's evergreen. I might mention that for all of you folks that like to cook with fresh herbs, and you may know this, but thyme, oregano, and rosemary are evergreen. They do fine in our winter. And so if you want fresh herbs for your winter cooking, stews, soups, whatever, if you had a pot of each of those three, they need to be separated, you have your herb shelf. This particular plant is a lemon thyme, and so I know you can't smell this, but I certainly can. I'm hoping Bruce and as well. So this was, and I'll show you its unusual bottom. This grew for the last 14 or 15 years in a round ceramic pot in my garden. And it was showing signs of tight shoes. Needed to be repotted. So I pulled it out about a month or two ago, and I healed it into a part of my garden. But as you can see, it's really retained that same shape of the container that it grew in from the 4-inch pot that I bought it to what it is now. This is another one that's just very easy to separate. I'm going to just show you. We've got a little even air layering going on here. Let's see. Here is a lemon thyme plant right here. Bruce, have I loosened it enough to?
I think so. Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more, okay. Without cutting Bruce's fingers off. Okay, let's try that. Is it attached? It's attached. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
So there's a new lemon thyme plant for your garden.
Smells so good.
For a friend. Yeah, it really does.
And this could be divided once again if you wanted. So
I think the potential for this large thyme plant could easily give you a dozen plants. Thyme, if you don't want to use it in cooking, is a rugged, reliable plant. As you see, low growing, has a beautiful flower. The bees can hardly fly by without stopping. So it's a real good plant, easy care, doesn't need to be fertilized, likes whatever water it can get, but it's a perennial, and it will just come back and just continue
perfect
to
time
provide
to pull the
you.
weeds as well.
Oh, do I have a weed in there?
Actually, it was a little evergreen of something.
Oh, a fir. I think that's a fir tree.
Yeah.
A baby. So there you have it. I can continue to cut on this thing, but I think you get the idea. This was maybe 13 years ago, came to me in a 4-inch pot, and now I have plenty of lemon thyme to share, to divide in my garden. So Bruce, I think I'll just set it over here for now.
Okay.
Let's
Ready for the rhubarb?
yeah.
Okay.
Let me clear off my table here. We thought, because we're a food growing garden at Gallucci, we should probably show you how to divide something that you can eat.
So this is the top. This is one of the roots. They grow big roots on there, but they're nice and actually fairly spongy, so it's easy to cut through. That's
Okay.
part of it.
Now, Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this probably a Victoria variety?
That I do not know.
Okay.
But here's another part of the same one. Actually, I think that one probably came off of like right here.
So to point out some of the crowns that are in this, Bruce, you could maybe point out the
Yeah.
crowns that you have in your.
So here is one. Here's another one. I can see one here, one there.
I even see some
keep
on the
growing.
side
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was happy.
Yeah. Rhubarb is just really easy to grow. You know, some people have strong feelings about rhubarb, like they have strong feelings about beets and kale and things like that. But you know, I mean, maybe if you don't eat rhubarb, it's still a really pretty ornamental, beautiful, frilly, large flower,
The leaves.
leaves. If it starts to flower, you want to cut that out right away. You don't want that to flower. So that's something that you're going to inhibit it from doing, because you really want to try to get the stems for food. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I see about 4 crowns here. This really is going to take probably a flat point shovel or a hatchet or something like that. It's a large, has a stout root structure. Also, fertilizer-wise, let's see, did we put some chicken manure or
Yep.
alpaca?
So I got this from a farm that was growing the rhubarb. And what he told me was take a shovel every fall, take a shovel full of manure, fresh manure, doesn't need to be aged, just fresh manure, and throw it on top of the plant. Because they love nitrogen. That's what they feed on.
But as you can see, they get enormous. So if that rhubarb is now getting a little thuggish in your garden or your food growing bed, and you want to pare it down, here's what you do. So let's see if we can find, like I say, this might be hatchet work. What do you think? Maybe there? And we might probably need the hori
Or a knife.
a knife.
I'm not sure. Or you might want to saw through it.
Okay. Bruce, I'm going to let you tell me how I can help you.
Give me a shovel.
There you go. Okay. Brute force.
Yep.
Close. We're close.
Careful your finger there.
I do want those.
Yeah.
Okay. You're close. You're really close. There we go.
Whoop. There we go. I'd probably leave it like this.
Yep. So there's some crowns, several crowns. So this is what you would plant back in your garden, believe it or not. I mean, that's all it takes. It's a very, it's a very heavy-duty plant. It'll provide you with rhubarb for a long time, but you do need to dig it up occasionally and divide it for it really to remain as vigorous as it is. So this is again, if you want to save it for friends, somebody else's want some rhubarb, you can dig up your root ball, divide it, give it to friends. At Gallucci, we needed to divide our rhubarb. We dug it up. I think we had more than 20 crowns that we could either sell or give to the Food is Free program. So, or give to whoever wanted it. So that's rhubarb.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd just like to make a few thank yous. Thank you for viewing this offering on plant root division. Today, I would like to offer special thanks to Tacoma Creates organization, who through their work and your tax dollars makes it possible to offer classes both at Gallucci Learning Garden in the Hilltop neighborhood of Tacoma, and through their partnership with Tacoma Public Library, specifically Motet Library in our case, in East Tacoma, a series of both children and adult gardening classes. Gallucci is under the protection of the Tacoma Urban Land Trust that promotes green space for growing food in the city and includes Viet Hong Garden, which is nearby Gallucci. Gallucci's model of gardening is one that's cooperative. So our volunteers and stewards take it from seed to harvest to working to get the garden to rest for the season, and then we start again. Viet Hong is a pea patch model of gardening where a person can rent a raised bed space and grow their own fruit and vegetables for a season. We are also very thankful for the use of this beautiful Mount Tacoma High School greenhouse and their outstanding plant science teacher, Ben Mearsman, who has partnered with us to promote children's interest in and knowledge related to gardening. This earth, this one place where we grow our food, and the interconnectedness of all that must be in harmony is vital. We understand that. We try to do our part to educate and feed our neighbors with homegrown, healthy fruit and vegetables. We at Gallucci Learning Garden hope this presentation inspires you to try something new in your garden. Thank you.
Thanks.